Right, this video is all about when you receive your dummy here that Josh is modelling.
Yeah.
It's how you place this in the ground, how it's fixed in the ground. And as you can see, you need a pretty big horse to be able to jump on it like this. So this has got to go in the ground. The reason it goes in the ground is for stability. When you've got half a ton or 3/4 of a ton stallion jumping on here, it really takes an awful lot of pounding. So it's much better if we put it in the ground. So what you've got to do is first of all build a hole for this dummy to go in. And it wants to be, if you look here, it wants to be about 4 foot long.
That's for that.
Going in by, if you go the other way, Josh, I think it's actually 2.5 foot wide. Okay? Just over 2 foot. So it wants to be 4 foot long by 2 foot. And it wants to be, okay, Josh, we can see here, it wants to go in about 2 foot deep. So the hole, you can, that's a maximum. You can go in 1.5 foot if you maybe got bigger horses, but even at 2 foot, it should be able to do the big horses and the small horses. But what I suggest you do is build the hole, go down 2.5 foot, put a nice base that it can go on. But then, can you grab a bit of cardboard for us, Josh?
You know
then
it.
What you want to do is lower this dummy into the hole, okay? But you don't get a true perspective of how deep this is. So it's best to, here's my assistant.
There he is, yeah. Glamorous, as
assistant.
always.
You want to put over the hole, a bit of cardboard either side that covers the hole up, purely from the fact is then you get a true perspective of the height of the dummy. Otherwise, you're looking in the hole and thinking, should go lower. And that's it. And so you can imagine we lower that in the hole, and then this wants to be the lowest height you'll ever need it, because you can always go higher, but you can't go lower. So when it's in that hole, make sure that's the lowest height you think you'll ever want it, and then raise it with using these bars here, and you can literally lift it up and down. And
give me a demo. Let me give you a real demo here.
You're going to do it on your own, Josh?
Yeah.
Okay, just go to the one. And then you can put another one in there. So, ooh. There you go. And you just basically want to make sure that go the full height. So it's got the full extension of what you're doing. So once you're happy with that, obviously, then what I would suggest you do is actually put shale up to about, most probably about 1 foot of shale and about 1 foot or 1/2 foot of concrete at the top. And at least then that is going to be rock solid. The reason for doing this, if ever you want to move it, you just break the top lot of concrete and you can lift it out. So, that's basically how you put the dummy in. The other place is misconception. A lot of people think the dummy has got to go in the middle of the room. It doesn't. So what we'd normally recommend is if you put the dummy up near a wall, but just so it's got enough space for you to get around the front of it. That's all you've got to do. So if there is a problem, you can get enough space. So remember, so going back to basics, it wants to go in about 1.5 to 2 foot deep. Lower the dummy in there, cover it with cardboard, make sure it's the lowest height, because it can never go lower, and then raise the dummy up when it's in there and make sure it can do that full height of maybe that bigger horse. Fill it full of shale up to about 1 foot, 1.5 foot, and the last 1/2 foot of concrete, and at least that way in the future you can break it up. So it's fairly straightforward to set up. You want a bit of space, obviously, either side of the dummy, so you can have places to do, and just little tips and tricks. And you really always want, sorry, this is in the way here. You ideally want the teaser mare's box on this side, so when you're teasing. Sorry, Josh.
I was going to say another really good tip as well. It's not straight towards the door, so you've got to bend before you come in, so you don't end up like a little runway and fly down there.
So when you've got the door, so ideally, what you don't want to do is bring the stallion in like this, because they're going to jump straight at the dummy. They want to come round. But you tease the mare, and straight on the dummy. But I think the main basis is of that, and then that can go lower and higher to whatever height you want.
Okay, guys, when the dummy arrives, it's going to come without the neck attached. So when it arrives, you're going to have to stick it on. So the best way to do that is get somebody to jump up on the dummy, push down for the 2 holes, push down and sit on the top, and then somebody comes along and then screws it in underneath. Okay guys, I'm just going to talk to you about some of the maintenance things about the dummy mare and just how to look after it, things to watch out for. So one of the first things we're going to talk about is this little back cover here. What you want to make sure is it's nice and tight to the dummy mare and it's all holding the cover on properly. And then if you need to adjust it or tighten it, get somebody to push on the back here. And there's 2 little bolts, one on the top, one at the bottom. And you can put get somebody to put their hand in here and then they can just tighten it up nice and tight through there. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is this little side cover plate bit here. Just adds a little bit more of a curve into the dummy mare, makes it a bit easier to collect with. But what's really important is that this is nice and tight, yet again, to the dummy mare. You don't want a big gap here, because if they're on top, swinging with their legs, they can hit their legs from the corners here, so that's not very good for them. And the same thing this side, if this is lifted up too much, they can get their penis caught in there and get it grazed, and something we really don't want. So what you do is same thing with the back plate, you push here, you can put your hand in underneath. It's easy if you've got 2 people, and then you can tighten up the bolts. This is the same thing, we've got a bolt there and a bolt there. Okay guys, next thing I'm going to do is show you how to put on the neck cover. Now these are sold separately at the Stallion AI website, so you just need to have a little look on there. And it's just really good, it really makes it much more stable for the stallions, it gives them something to bite onto, makes it a little bit more natural for them, so it's really, I mean, we always have one on ours. And what you do is fold it all out, throw it on like this, make sure it goes up the neck a little bit. And I like to, when I do it, is get it up the neck and then start off with these top straps here. Just makes it a little bit easier. You can obviously lower the dummy as well if you need to, if you can't reach. So it's quite handy about these dummies, or you can get it to any size you want. Put them on, and once they're on, you can tighten up these straps like so. And what's quite important is this little tips to remember. It's quite handy. These got these fast release clips. So if, for instance, for some reason, if you had a stallion and they kept on biting it and they didn't want to let go, or they decided to put their foot up here and they didn't want to let go and they got their foot stuck on it, you can very easily just quick grab all these clips and it's off. And so it goes, there's another one here as well. Oh, this clips on here like that. Yeah, again, once it's on, pull it nice and tight. And then now you've got these belly straps here. And there's 3 of these. Again, on, nice and tight. Next one goes here. Once it's on, pull it nice and tight. And the last one. And now it's nice and safe and secure. And if you want, I like to tuck these up here just to make it look a little bit tidier and a little bit more presentable. Perfect, there you go. I just wanted to show you guys, just for a little added feature, just a little, make sure these all around the right way, is that the little catch here has got a little kind of ridge in it. And this has got like another little ridge. You just got to make sure they line up to push the clips in. Just like that. If you have it the wrong way around, it just won't let you clip. So don't worry, it's not broken. You just need to twist them around, get them lined up. It's a bit like a USB port. You get them lined up and then you clip it in. Okay guys, I'm now going to talk about the dummy mare. And what makes these dummy mares so good is the fact that we can adjust them to any height, and we can adjust them for any size of horse or pony or any type of stallion that we're going to be jumping on them. We can get these to any height we need. So we've got these little white lines here, and they just mark when the dummy is at 0. So it's kind of like its normal standing position. And with the white lines, we just want to make sure they're level and there's a slight angle at the dummy. So this is just going to make it a little bit easier for them to slide off at the end after you've clicked off them. So when you're working out the height of the dummy, what I like to kind of judge it on is you want the bottom end of the dummy at the kind of the same height as your own stallion's bottom of the stallion that's going to be jumping on the dummy. So they're kind of at the same height. You've got to imagine it's going to be the same height as the mare that they would jump on. Make sure it's at a slight angle. And if you ever get a stallion that tries to climb up it and gets their legs up here and they want to get a little bit higher, you can always adjust it up one more at the front just to make it just a little bit more of an angle. Okay, everybody. So today I'm going to talk to you about disinfecting the dummy mare. So this is what we do every single stallion. It's really, really important. Make sure it's all biohazard safe. Make sure it's really clean, completely free of any type of bacteria or anything. So what we use is the Equine Disinfectant BioGenie. So you can get in this big bottle, get in this little spray, and what we do is we just scrub the dummy down, and then afterwards we give it a good spray with the spray, and then we're going to just dab it all dry to make sure it's all ready for the next stallion. Okay guys, so today I'm going to explain to you about putting a new cover on your dummy mare. So as you can see, this one is needed replacing soon, and you can buy these from our website, just a little, come like this, all rolled up. And what we do is you need to take off this back piece with the bolts inside, the side pieces, and you need to take off the neck, and then underneath here, it's all kind of like laced up, like a big shoelace, and then you're going to unlace it all, slide it off, put the new one on. This is where the laces are going to go. What I would say is just make sure when you lay them out, just mark down the holes for the neck so it's easier to put it back in, and also maybe the holes on the side, or any way you can mark little holes on it just where the bolts go, make it a lot easier for you. So once you've taken the old one off, one of the best ways to find out where all the holes are for the bolts for all these little extra bits like the back piece, the side pieces and the neck is just to get your old one and lay on top of the new one with like a Sharpie or some kind of pen. Just mark it through there so you can see where the holes are. Make the holes in the new piece, put it over the top, and then that way it's a lot easier to better put all the pieces back in.